Okay, Balsa model builders, we're going to build the B24 Liberator. Pretty substantial model right here. We're going to build it for display only. And our first major step, of course, is to get our working table set up. In this case, the foam, the wax paper on top of the plan itself, which we can pin through into the foam board when we start moving and aligning and setting pieces in place. And then we've gone ahead and gotten our parts list, various parts and such that we'll use to build the left and right wings. In this case, we're starting with the right wing. So we're getting all the little parts laid out and configured so we can get them ready for cutouts and put them into position. So here we go. What I've done here is I've gotten everything prepped for this right wing assembly. I've got the MS1A, MS2A, MS1B, MS2B in position. I'm going to get them glued together here where the joints are. Then I've got all the ribs cut out, cleaned up, and ready to put into their positions where they go according to plan. So we'll get some of this stuff glued together and then we'll come back to you. What we have here is some of the ribs I've glued into place, every other one. Basically got them all dry fit, and then I just started gluing them one at a time. That gives me a good way of getting the elevations nice and flush. Like you see here, all these are nice and flush. Every other one I've gotten glued, and they're all nice and flush. That gives me the opportunity then, when it comes to do tissue work, have a nice flat surface to work with. So there we are. Here it is, the right wing, all assembled. You got some detail work, of course, here on the end to do. And I've got to carve the leading edge and the trailing edge to better respect the curvature of the wing. So we've got that. We'll let this dry now and do the left wing, and once it dries up real good, then we'll start doing the Dremel work to give these parts more graceful fit. Now we're doing the left-hand wing. We're getting the little ribs all cut out and prepped and slowly sliding them into position. Like I said, we got the right wing here all glued together, which, like I mentioned earlier, needs some Dremel work and such. But we're gonna get the left wing assembled like the right, and then we'll Dremel them both together. Okay, we've got I guess we'll call it the left side of the fuselage layout put together. We cut out the little formers, trimmed them up, glued them in place. So now we have one side of the fuselage up and running, and then we'll start doing the other side here shortly. And then it'll end up looking a little bit like what you got there. Like I said, we followed all the little guidelines. Need to figure the wing rail covers out. Put the little braces on the opposing side so that everything is nice and square. So, and with that, we move on. Voila. Got both sides together. Got the formers in place. Also made the little adjusters there to keep those formers on both sides perfectly in line and straight with each other. Now we're doing the stringers. Get them into positions. And moving on. Here it is. The fuselage is pretty much 100% or give or take altogether. Got all the stringers in place. The wing adapter mounting parts. So everything is all nice and tight. Glued in place with my favorite glue. So we got that done with. Now we're going to go ahead and move along and do the stabilizer layout. You see here, I got some of the pieces cut out of the sheets for use here shortly. So we're going to put that together and then I'll show you how that came out. Got the stabilizer all together in the ribs, pinned in place, nice and tight, looking good. No real issue there. Hardest part was probably just cutting and bending those pieces without breaking them. One at each end there. But looking good. So we're going to let this dry, then we'll take it off, and then we'll do the Dremel to it to give that profile there. And that profile there. Should be good to go. So we have the fuselage, rear stabilizer, and the wings all together. Now we're going to work on the rudder layout. I got one of them built here already. Need some Dremel work. I need two of these rudders. Basically I built one on the plan, then I reversed the second one because there'll be two of them, one at each end of the rear of the aircraft. So what we have then is the ability to build what you see here and there. So those are these two guys. So they're looking good. No great issue there. And we'll move along. Now as we move along, we're going to start cutting out the, I guess they call it nacelle or nacelles, the cowling or whatnot for the engines. Got one of the frames built up, and I've got the couple of the plastic components here for the P11L. Got that all set up. We're going to cut that all out and place them in position. So we'll get back to here momentarily on how they all fit together. And of course, in relation to the wings, where these little brackets on the back side here will go into the wing in this position here, and that position there. I'm missing a piece right there. An F4B belongs right there. So I'm still looking for that piece. I might have to make one by hand, but no big deal there. Anyway, we'll be back. Okay, what I've done here is I've built the nacelles. There's one for inside. There's one for outside. And basically they will slide right into position through the cutouts I made in the front of the wing. So you've got one that'll slide into this position here, and then one will slide into this position here. And once they slide into place, they then look like this. It'll look pretty sharp right there. And then once we've got them positioned, I then went ahead and cut out some of these plastic form-fitting pieces. I got some that go, like in this case, for the top. And then we got the big one here that will go into the bottom. And then we've got the, I guess we call it a nose cone that'll slide into place above and below. In this case here. And then we'll put the propeller motor mount into position on the inside of the fitting, where it'll show much like in the design drawings. So that's what we got there. I cut out the front of the wing rib there. I cut that out with a Dremel tool. Looks like we see on this one. Cut it out with a Dremel. I'm going to go back and Dremel the edges a bit, and then I'm going to do the tissuing on the top of the and bottom of the wings. And then we'll put the nacelles back into position. And then we will get them all dressed up and looking good. So I'm beginning with the tissuing of the wings. I've got the tissue oversized cut to fit the wing, and I've got it pinned into place, stretched nice and tight. And then what I do is I use a simple glue stick, and I rub the glue stick right on top of the tissue paper, and the glue basically just goes right through the tissue paper to the ribs and the formers on the wing. Quite simply easy. It dries nice and tight and fairly clear where you don't really see it. So it's a nice easy way to do it. Once this dries real good and I have all the edges glued nice and tight, then we'll go back and we'll trim it to fit. Okay, so I've got the stabilizer all tissued up, nice and tight looking. I've just about finished the rudders, but their tissuing, got one side done and whatnot. I've had to carve out the little area here. This is where the stabilizer and the rudder come together. Did that on both of these. Had to carve it out just a bit here and to get it to work and get the pieces to fit just right. So we'll finish cleaning up the tissuing on the rudders. We'll then assemble the rudders onto the stabilizer, and then we'll go onto the plane. Here we have the stabilizer rudders assembled. We've got the tissuing going on with the fuselage. A lot of work involved in that and trying to get it to fit and stay tight. Not so bad so far. So we'll be finishing that up shortly.